going on? And we are live. What's going on, everybody? I am Chris, the Striping Guy, and in today's live stream, this is the second live stream of the day, and the reason why we're doing multiple live streams is because I've been so busy for the last 3 weeks that I want to have a couple of pieces of content to put out for you guys while we're at PAVEX. And in this live stream video, I have two very special guests. But before I introduce them and let them give their introduction, I do want to say, if you're interested in striping or seal coating, be sure to check out how to stripe and how to seal coat. Those links will be in the comment section and the description of this video. Or if you're interested in some in-person training, you want to come out, put your hands on the equipment, on the machine, so on and so forth, check in the comment section and description as well. Fill out the in-person training form and then send me a text message letting me know that you filled out the form, because even though we're in Oklahoma and we are in colder climates, we're sending in-person trainees down south to Mario's way. So Mario is going to be doing an in-person training event at the latter part of February. We're going to kind of integrate Jack in some of that as well. So if you guys are interested in striping, seal coating, in-person training, whatever the case may be, check the links in the description to look at all the training programs and platforms. Also, I do want to say one more thing before we crack off the live. We started our Done For You program, and our Done For You program is basically franchise level training where you get SOPs, marketing, sales, implementation. But once we do that Done For You in that state, we don't do another one. So right now we got Pennsylvania, we got Maryland, Washington, North Carolina, and we're fixing to close the Done For You deal in Georgia. So if you're interested in the Done For You program, one and done. And after that, I can't set up another Done For You in that state. With all that being said, Mario and Jack, how are y'all doing today?
I'm doing great. It's another day above ground, you know, and I don't work. We don't work utilities, so every day above ground is a great day. How are you guys doing?
Every day is a good day, man.
As long as you make it one.
Yeah, it has to be a good day.
That's good. That's good. And this is the first time that ever since we've done live streams that I've done a collab both with Jack and Mario. And if you guys do not know who Mario and Jack are, these guys are absolute killers. I mean, I've known them since they've got started. We've kind of all got started at the same time and pretty much just kind of grown one with another. And I'm really excited about it. Earlier in the live stream today, we talked about the PAVEX event. And then I did a live stream with Jessica Lombardo about PAVEX. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend you go see it. But Mario and Jack and myself, all three of us are going to be at PAVEX in a couple of days, collaborating, filming content, meeting with people, checking everything out. And I highly recommend, if you have been thinking about going to PAVEX, that you go to this one first. Before I start off, Jack, let me kind of start off with you. Let's talk about the event. Let's talk about PAVEX. We're going to share an Airbnb together. Do you kind of want to tell everybody what your plans are for the event and what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, man. So I'm super excited for one. I mean, number one thing is there's a ton of people in the industry. You know, you see all these guys putting content out, you know, just want to shake some hands and put some faces to the names and, you know, just meet the guys for one. It's going to be a super great networking event. For two, I mean, I've never been to PAVEX, but seeing all the content that people put out, I mean, it just looks like a crazy event, especially for guys that, you know, are in the industry or want to get into the industry. There's so many crazy pieces of equipment there and competitions going on. You see all the videos. I mean, it's just like you're like a kid in a candy store for us when we go there. So I'm just super excited to get there. Look at some of the new equipment people are putting out, you know, maybe buy a piece of equipment. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but, you know, I'm getting pumped up about it.
Perfect. And we're actually going to be rooming with each other, you know, and the great thing about it is if you're considering the event and you want to go to it, and maybe you've seen Jack on the channel, maybe you've seen Mario posting on TikTok and other social media platforms. I mean, I highly recommend, you know, hit us up whenever we're there. We'd love to go out and eat with you and collaborate on any projects that we can. Mario, you didn't go to the PAVEX event in Tennessee, but we went for Houston, Texas. Kind of, but when we, let's kind of just talk about it and air it out. When you went the first time, you weren't pumping out videos and weren't all famous on TikTok like you are now. So
I wouldn't say I'm famous.
I mean, you're pretty TikTok. I mean, every time we talk, it's like I see a video of you on TikTok. You're TikTok famous. So like, how do you think? What's your plan whenever you first started, going to the events, like now that you have started creating content on social media platforms, what's going to be the angle for Radiant Striping as you go into the PAVEX event as it pertains to creating content?
Well, let's just start off with like the first event, right? So the first event, I was just starting the business, just starting the idea of like, hey, I'm going to start my own striping business. I've been working for other companies in the paving side of things for a while now, and I've got a good grasp on things. So now I just want to I'm going to go learn, teach myself how to stripe and just figure this out. And it was actually until that event that I put down my first stripe on a machine, because at that point I was hand rolling some parking lots, which is a lot of people frown upon that a little bit, but I don't care, because I was getting started. I was charging accordingly. I wasn't charging what I'm charging now, so. But going now though, so like that was the first event. The first PAVEX is just like, I'm just figuring a lot of things out. And going into it now being 2 years, because I missed last year's because my daughter had her gymnastics competition that same time. And, I had to got to be there for that. But this time it's different because, it's just like I've been putting out the content, just for fun, just trying to grow the business, experimenting with a lot of things. I'm really big on the branding and marketing side of things. I think that for me is like the fun part of the business. That's where I'm having like the most fun is, shooting the videos, the editing, we'll see, that's how that is. We don't like everything we do. Right. But to see people who have never really paid attention to parking lots now all of a sudden paying attention to like what it is that we do, that's cool. I will say that is really, really cool. And that's been some really cool feedback, especially like a lot of local people around here. It's a little interesting sometimes when you walk in a place and it's, let's say I'm wearing my hat, people might recognize it and like, hey, I saw your video. When you posting that next one out or whatever, or like they say, they find it so satisfying. So it's just one of those interesting things between the first event of never putting down a stripe, with the striping machine, to now like, I could do that thing night and day difference, now. And so going now is like Jack was saying, I'm looking at the equipment a little bit differently now. You know what I mean? I'm looking at like what's kind of a deal here, or like what are some future opportunities now that we've been going to, like, how do I optimize my system a little bit better? Are there things out here that I didn't know about before that could just like make the everyday process better? Is there other equipment that I don't know about, that we can think about doing it? And then when I look at the equipment, I'm obviously looking at it from a different standpoint. It's like, well, how do I maybe make content with that equipment? So like, there's just a lot of different things that I'm looking at it now versus, so I'm excited going to this event because I'm in a different place. There's a lot more experience in the background now of it versus, being a deer in the headlights in that first event.
Yeah,
that's where I am with it.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Listen, and I do want to say this. I do want to say this. If you guys are, if you're going to the event, Marvin Joels at the In the Mix podcast is having a striper meetup giveaway. I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I'm just kidding. I didn't hear. But, I think if Marvin does do a striper meetup next year, I don't know. I think that it'd be really, really cool if he featured, Radiant Striping. I mean, I might ask him about that. Like, man, like next year, because nobody's doing what you're doing. Like, you have a different form of style of content. So we might cover that later on in the live stream. But for the most part, like, come to the PAVEX event. They're doing the In the Mix booth is going to be doing something, a striper meetup giveaway and all that, so on and so forth. So feel free to check that out. Now I want to come back to Jack, because Jack, bro, we've got so many collabs that we have to do every single time that I talk to somebody in relation to people who were able to get started and build and grow so fast. Like, bro, you're like the stud. You're like the man in Colorado right now. Like, you're the guy in Colorado without a question. Like, that's where you're from, right? Colorado?
Yep. Yes, sir.
So tell me, like, last year, I remember whenever we first met, I think, bro, we made the video. Like, we made the video before you ever even went full. No, it was right when you went full time.
Yeah.
So
That was
tell me,
only 8 months ago. I just looked at when that was.
8 months ago. Okay, so here it is. Now, 8 months ago, you go full time. Walk me through that process because you're like I tell everybody, he's the best in Colorado. So how does that work? How can someone go from like nothing, working a full-time job, like you're posting on Instagram all the time, concrete jobs, paving jobs, striping jobs, seal coating jobs. Walk us through the process from the time you're working at your full-time job, the time you quit to where you are now, traveling to events and pavement conferences.
Well, let me just say for one, it has been the most hectic, crazy year of my life. Like the most stress. Like if you could talk about, just taking things on the chin, the worst stressful things that people would lose their mind about and just being like, oh, no, it's good. We'll figure it out. That has been the last 8 months. And so, we kind of went over the story. I was working my full-time job. I started working right out of high school, 18 years old. And I was always, I think you guys know how our minds work. We're always thinking, how can we make more money? What's something we can do? And so I tried multiple other side hustles and tried to do things to make extra cash. And then it was so random. Chris's video came across my page. He was striping a parking lot. And then the next day, my boss said he needed his parking lot striped. So, I just kind of started watching videos, bought a little piece of equipment, was striping on the side that was about a year, just striping on the side. And, I had money saved up and stuff. So I told Chris, Chris was hounding me. If you're going to go full time, you got to get a seal coat tank. And so I went, I overpaid for an old seal coat tank and I was stressing about it, but I just wanted to get one. I was getting calls about seal coat jobs and selling seal coat jobs before I even had a tank. And before I quit my job, I was telling people I was booked out 4 months, even though I really just had my full-time job. So I was putting them on the schedule for later in the summer. But coming into the season, basically it's just me, myself, and a couple, friends that I have to do labor and stuff. So, got on the first seal coat job, and just off what you learn from videos, you just try to figure it out. I know how to stripe, but seal coating is a little bit of a different ball game. So, got a couple seal coats under my belt and got rolling with that. And then made this really good connection that sends me a ton of jobs. And after I did a couple jobs for them, they were like, okay, well, we just got this 270,000 square foot apartment complex. Can you do it? And I was like, yeah, of course. I'm like, yeah, we'll get it done. I'm playing it off. Yeah, we'll for sure. Dude, I'm crapping bricks, bro. Like, I don't know how we're going to get this complex done. I got me and this one other guy. We work together full time now. His name's Hugo. We're always busting jobs out. But it's pretty much just him and I. So we start hitting up connections that we know other guys in the industry, trying to get some laborers. End up coming across these two brothers that they have their own company, but they just don't really get a ton of work. So pretty much they're coming and they're working for me full time now. So we bring them out on that job and bust that job out, find out these guys are great workers. Meeting this connection of these two brothers, find out they do concrete and paving. They know how to run pavers. They know how to do everything that I don't know how to do, but that I can sell. So I'm like, well, all right, well, I'll bring you guys in. I'm going to start selling these jobs that I know I can get. And then I'll work. And then with bringing them on these jobs, now I'm learning. So I know how to price concrete. I know how to price mill and overlays. I know how to price asphalt R&Rs, infrared patching. I've got subs for different things that I need. So now that we're in the off season, meeting that connection of the two brothers, we're kind of out of seal coating and striping as far as Denver goes, but concrete and asphalt R&R are still rolling. So when I've got no work, now that concrete and asphalt's coming in and I've got these guys working for me, we've got a good team built. We've got a good base. I've got good connections, the leads coming in. My Google's still rolling. It doesn't matter. We have so many services that if something could completely stop and another service is going to circulate and pay our bills. So basically, just every time someone asks me if we can do something, I say yes, and we figure out how to do it. And then that turns into next thing you know, we're doing 30 projects. So, it's pretty much just been throwing ourselves in the fire on every single thing, figuring it out, making the connections of who knows how to do things the best, building a team off of that, bringing people in, using my skill set of getting the jobs and this guy's skill set of doing the jobs. And we're rolling at full pace right now. We're not slowing down.
So let me, and it's the off season. It's the off season. So let me kind of put this in perspective for people who are watching these YouTube videos, these channels. Jack was working a full-time job 8 months ago. Like, how powerful that is for someone who can self-educate, watch videos on YouTube, then develop a skill set, and then leverage the skill set that they get to meet other people. Now he knows how to do everything in a year's time span. Jack, what do you say to these people who are like, man, I'm struggling. I can't do it. I can't figure it out. Nothing's working for me. Is it an excuse or are they just lazy? Or give me some like insight from somebody who can go from 0 to totally exploding in 8 months time span. Can you kind of break that down?
Well, I mean, for one, I mean, there's only one way to put it. You got to be a little bit crazy, man. I mean, I know so many other business owners in different industries. And I mean, guys are 50, 60 years old that have other businesses. And they're telling me like, be careful, you know, don't overstep it. And to a degree, they're right. You know, I've taken some hits. We've taken some losses from taking the risk, but we learn from those and we don't do it again. You know, we move on from that. But number one thing is there's some people just aren't built for it, man. Some people just are not built to be in the entrepreneurs for one, but for two in this industry, especially when you start getting into seal coating, concrete, paving, and things like that. I mean, it's a whole different ball game. But for one, I mean, you just got to be a killer nonstop. I mean, when I was working my full-time job, man, I was hustling every day on the weekend. I'm telling you, I get off work at 3, I got 2 hours to cold call businesses before they close at 5. So I'm thinking, as I'm driving around in the work van, I'm looking, oh, that parking lot, I'm taking notes. Like, that parking lot's bad. I'm calling people. I cold called someone yesterday and went out and did an estimate today, and they're fixing to be on the books in a week. So cold calling is not something that doesn't work. So if you can't find work, I mean, I don't need to cold call. I mean, that, you know, but when I do, I'm getting jobs.
I love it. I love hearing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of, you know, how bad do you really want it? And you have to not be scared. You know, you got to be smart about what you do, but you really have to throw yourself in the fire. I mean, there's no 100%. And I think, I mean, Mario knows too. And, you know, there's no fully safe way of just, here's a step-by-step staircase of how it's, you know, you'll get here. You got to take that risk, man. You know, I mean, when I was doing striping and seal coating, and then I start getting these concrete jobs, like, I was terrified. You know, I'm not a concrete guy, but okay, let's see how we do. And now we're doing, dude, I just sold a $47,000 concrete R&R job. So, I mean, you got to be crazy, man. And you, every single time you're not doing something, you got to think of what you can do. And when I'm not, dude, I'm telling you, I don't watch TV. I don't watch YouTube. When I go to bed, I'm watching asphalt videos, striping videos, you know, educating, seeing how people are doing things. I'm looking at other paving companies on YouTube and seeing how their systems and how they run their crews. So you're constantly educating. So when you get that opportunity, or you create an opportunity for yourself and you jump into it, you have a little bit of confidence and knowledge on what to do. So, I mean, it's fully possible, but you just got to be a little bit crazy, man. I mean, you got to go at it nonstop.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, I'd say it's like 80% developing that confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then 20% crazy.
Perfect. Yeah. Mario, and then Mario, because I want to highlight, because your background and what you've done in the short period of time is absolutely phenomenal as well. Let me kind of interject something real quick. And we got people in the comment section, guys. If you have any questions for Mario and Jack, please put them in the comment section. I'd love to answer it. You know, Jack goes from working a full-time job 8 months ago. Now he's got crews. He's subbing paving. He's got people working for him. You know, Mario is grown exponentially. He's growing his business. Like, he's super busy. He's doing work for big box retailer locations. Like, there's all sorts of stuff that you can learn from these two individuals. And that's what we kind of want to bring this content for. But I'll say this. I have a friend of mine. She's going to be coming to PaveX too. Her name is Sheila Hargis. Like, this lady she does everything too. I mean, every time she gets a call, she's subbing paving, concrete, window washing. I mean, she does everything. And it's kind of unfamiliar for me in my skill set. Like, I would, you know, I'm kind of on the fence about subbing out. We're going to sub out some paving this year, but like, she's a killer. Like, she'll go out and do anything, you know what I mean? And she's good at what she does. And she's going to be going to PaveX with us. Actually, I've been talking about it all year. She's going to be there as well, sharing the Airbnb with us. And, Jack, it would probably be really helpful for you to connect with her, because she's been doing this for 10 years, subbing out different services. Like, so she could probably help you right where you're at. So Mario, let me kind of segue over into you real quick. Like, you know, because you kind of came Jack and I both came from an industry where we didn't really know anything. Like I didn't know anything about painting. Like I bought somebody else's course off the internet to learn how to paint parking lots. Like I bought an online training course to learn how to do it and then created one, made it better. So like we didn't have any experience in the industry, but you, on the other hand, you kind of started at like a very, very high role. Like you're managing multi-million-dollar projects. Like why go from managing multi-million-dollar projects for Tesla and stuff like that? Like why go down and then go, I want to start painting parking lots now? Like kind of give us the backstory, because we came from zero experience. You had all of the like knowledge to start building. Kind of help us work our minds around that. Like why do it if you were already at such a high level? You know what I mean?
I mean, I can understand that. I mean, you know, when you come for, let's say, I guess I would say I'm more from the white collar side of it, you know, the project management and the estimating side of it, never so much as in the field actually doing the work. So that's I can understand. It's different, you know, a little more cushier of a job and a little security right there. But the thing is, like, I've always had that itch to build something on my own. I always wanted to have my own business. What it was, I had no idea. I honestly never had an idea of like what it was. But then like the last 2 jobs I've had, I kind of got like let go for things outside of my control. One was like an economic reason, and the other one was because the partnership with the company was shifting and they pretty much had to let everyone go. And I was just like, after the military, like working those jobs and just getting let go, I'm like, I'm done. I'm just like, I'm so done of like having to go find another job. And then plus 2, the jobs were like great paying jobs, no denying that. But that like not being in control of my own schedule or this and that, or like, why are we doing it this way? Like, why can't we do it that way? So a lot of that, like, I wish we could just do it a certain way. And then it's just like, well, one of the things I saw in common in my area was like, there's just not a lot of good stripers. Like there's like probably a few really solid companies, but those solid companies were always, you know, they're busy. So, you know, I was like, okay, can you do striping on your own? And I was like, people were like, yeah, you can do striping on your own. I was like, perfect. Then I'm just going to go figure this out because, I'm tired of doing it. And I kind of have like a way I want to do it. Like I want to make it fun. You know, that's why Radiant Striping looks like the way it does now. This is not how it always looked. You know, I did a little Canva logo thing at the very beginning just to get started. But no, it's just like I wanted to build something fun for myself. I wanted to kind of walk the walk, right? If I thought something was going to be done a better way, then I need to actually go do it instead of just talking about it, you know, and actually show like, hey, with action of this is how I wanted to do it. And look, it's working out. So, you know, we're building a very good company. It's still me, myself, and I, the 3 amigos, but that might be changing this year. But like you're saying earlier, Chris, though, I work with a lot of other contractors, right? Like I don't just stripe myself. I seal coat, paving, concrete, just like Jack's saying. Those are like pivotal services for anyone's listening that you need to like. You can start in one area, but you need to develop like either relationships or figuring out how to do it yourself, because a lot of the times, this is a very good nugget for all those listeners out there, that when you work with a certain company or contractor, they want the person that can just do basically everything in the parking lot and they don't have to worry about it. They don't want to have to hire 3 different companies to stripe and seal coat and patch. They don't want to do that. They want the one company that's going to be able to take care of everything for themselves. And so thankfully, you know, I already had the experience of working with other contractors. So I did already have, you know, certain relationships with other people. So when I called them up, like, hey, I went on my own, you interested in bidding this job for me and taking a risk with me? And, you know, they would do it. So like, it's just one of those things you just, like Jack's saying, there's certain risks you got to take. You know, there's certain things that, you know, I've taken a hit too. No one's impervious to that, but then it's like you say, like, it's how do we bounce back, you know? But yeah.
And I'll add to what you said, Mario, is how you were saying, you know, people look for that one-stop shop, man, and it is so true.
Yep.
I mean, when I was just doing striping, I think I lost a couple bids. When I was doing striping and crack sealing, I definitely lost a couple because people wanted some R&R stuff done. And not just that, when you go and say, even if you're just quoting a striping job and say, hey, just to let you guys know, we're a one-stop shop. So if you have other properties or anything, we take care of everything. I've had people be like, oh, really? Well, I have a concrete slab we need to get fixed at this address. Can you go look at it? So then I'm looking at 2 properties for them. And then, just it makes them be like, I really like this guy. Even if they get a bid that's a little bit higher than you or lower than yours, they're probably going to end up going with you if they like you. And then I just saw a comment come in. I fixed my screen so I could see this from Knuckles. He says, I need $6K to buy some equipment. I don't know if he's talking about a striping machine or something, but like Mario was saying, man, he started with a hand roller. And, even if you don't start with a hand roller and you really want to get into a machine, I mean, we have a 3900 that's an older unit that we're using right now. We bought used for $1,900. And we have used, it's an older model, but that's our yellow machine. It only runs yellow. And we just got a second used driver for $3,000 that we hooked up to that. My other driver, I paid $1,500 for, man. All my striping stuff is not nice stuff. It's used. My 3900 that's a newer model. Oh, he said, my 3900 that's a newer model, $1,500, put $500 in to fix it. All my stuff is used. But same thing with the seal tank. I guess $6,000 is probably about what you need for a seal tank. If that's what he's talking about, it sounds about right.
Especially if it's used. Let me say this: like Mario was talking about being a solo operator. Man, if you're working by yourself, and guys, keep posting questions in the chat. Where you're listening from. If you're listening from Facebook, if you're listening from YouTube. Striping in this cold. Yes, sir. We are striping in the cold. We just go south where we're at. I can't wait for it to get warm up where we're at. But so post your questions in the chat and then kind of just, interact with the live. Let me know where you're listening from and stuff like that. So let me kind of put it in this perspective, because if you have, let's say that you have a 3900 standard series, once you get an auto layout with a driver, it cuts your productivity in half. So even if you have, because whenever I started, I didn't have, we didn't have anything. I didn't have any money saved up. That's what makes Jack so interesting, because he was just responsible with his finances. But, and I wasn't responsible. I had a wife and kids and just a house and just didn't have anything hardly saved up. I think we had $6,000 saved up whenever I finally first got started. But you grow and you get equipment. So we added an auto layout with a driver and a laser and all that stuff. And what it does is it cuts your productivity down. So if you, Jack was saying, he has a designated yellow machine. Jack said, he's got designated machines. He's been doing it for 8 months. We didn't get designated machines until last year. So it's everybody grows at different paces. And then that's okay. But if you get let's say you get an auto layout with a driver and a laser, you could go out there and work by yourself, no problem. And you don't have to have several people out there popping chalk line, doing layouts or anything.
You're doing it by yourself regardless without that layout. Not a laser like I am. I'll tell you that. It's a little time consuming. Definitely is.
It definitely takes a lot. It takes a lot more time. Okay, let me ask you this. So now we're about 30 minutes into the live. I kind of just wanted to talk because I'm excited because I get to spend an entire week with these two guys right here. And I'm telling you, I'm pumped about it. We're going to get to film. We're going to get to chill out. We're going to go to the events. I'm so excited about it. So let's kind of get into some questions real quick. So Green Man says, this is a good one, Mario. I want to know. And this is a good one for Jack too.
People's questions.
So when is Radiant Striping coming to YouTube and with that content for those of us who are too much of a dinosaur to get on TikTok? This is for Jack too. I've been telling Jack and Mario. Since 2023 that they need to be making content. So now the audience is asking, guys, when are y'all going to start making content for for YouTube?
Actually, it's this year. This year's goal is actually the sole focus of YouTube only, being a primary focus, with a lot of shifting with the short form content, is focusing more on the YouTube side of things, and then just still posting to the other short forms like TikTok and stuff. So because YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google, and it's owned by Google, so it's a no-brainer it's a different kind of platform than the regular social media too. So the way people interact with it is completely different. So after putting it off for too long, this year it's happening. So I was actually editing a video to post on it later today. So before we hopped on this live.
And Jack, when's the content come? It'd be so nice. It would be so nice to be able to have like an Avengers type, you know what I mean? Where it's just you're collabing and you're going to pavement conferences, and it's like, I mean, I've been telling people to post content and start developing this kind of stuff for years. So that'd be really, really cool. So it looks like this year we're going to get some Radiant Striping content. And hopefully Jack is going to as well. Knuckles says, "What's up, fellas?"
What up, dude?
What's up? He also says, "That's what's up. I can't wait to start my hustle."
Just start. You just do it.
Yeah.
Unless you're like in the northern state. But you can still do it though. Even if you're in northern state, this is the time where you start pre-gaming a lot of cold calls and starting establishing to the opportunity to bid properties. So you may not actually start painting them or seal coating them, but you definitely can start sending out estimates like now. Like don't let perfect scenarios stop you from doing stuff. There's always something you can start like right now, depending on like wherever you're at. It's just figuring out like what's the most realistic for where, based off the state you're in right now. Because if you're in a snowy state, obviously you can't go stripe right now.
Dude,
But
I mean,
you can always go sell. That at the end of the day, selling is 24/7 gig, so that doesn't stop.
And I mean, you can make a couple phone calls to your local smaller striping companies, man. Put on a button up and just go act like you've been doing it for 10 years and sub out like 3 jobs and save up enough money for a machine. You're good to go.
Yeah. But it doesn't work for me. It's not possible. I've tried everything. I don't understand. How can it work? There's excuses.
I'll say this. Sometimes you may experiencing certain roadblocks for certain things, right? But I feel like you might be guided to different avenues of way of approaching it. Like cold calling for me, it's not the biggest thing, but doing other things like the social media stuff has been working wonders for me, where that doesn't always, work for somebody else. So like you just got to try a lot of things. That's the thing. Like don't give up on because of one thing didn't work out, or just because you made one phone call and someone told you no. And they're like, oh, I called one guy and they said no, they weren't looking for parking lot striping, or, and then we're not doing that anymore. But no, there's so many different things. You just got to keep trying. And
you have to
see where the doors just naturally open up. That's the thing. Just find where the doors start. Like, where do you feel the least resistance that's happening? Like Jack's saying, if you're cold calling, you're getting calls. Like, yeah, I'm doubling down on what's, if that's working for you, then you were doubling down on that, or figuring out you just got to figure out what's going to work for you. But there's always going to be something that's going to work. It's just taking the time for it.
And you just can't quit too. Like I was in the middle of a live stream and then Centerline Supply walked in. So like Jack was talking about finding ways to generate income. Well, Centerline walked in. The first thing I say is, yo, what up with a brand deal? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like you just always, you have to be innovative in your approach to generate income, especially when you're working for yourself. Because guess what? Let's say like on a smaller capacity, let's say you land, a contract for $400,000 and you have to cash flow your paint, and you have people that work for you. You have an office, you're cash flowing your paint, whatever the case may be, like, and let's say that Sherwin will give you 45 days, but like you're draining your account. What I'm saying is like at any point in time, like you feel I'm just getting started. Like I still to this day, like I wake up and I'm thinking, man, I'm watching a lot of finances draining out of our account. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of getting nervous. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting, I know it's all going to come back, but like, we're all in that point, bro. Everybody reaches bottlenecks. And like, that's funny because the video that I was supposed to put out today, it's funny that you said that is 5 bottlenecks that are preventing you from growing. So like everybody reaches bottlenecks. It doesn't matter who you are. Like we all have that. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I can't wait. I'm glad you're starting your side hustle for sure. Okay, so here we go. Jared says, fellas, literally just got in from Sherwin-Williams, and you guys are live. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We're pumped
That's a
about it.
synchronicity moment right there for you, Jared. That means you better get to work.
That's perfect. Yeah, we gotta,
ready.
so
You
let
know,
me
Chris,
ask.
I kind of want to.
I hope you're walking out of there with some paint there, Jared.
Yeah. What'd you say, Jack?
I said I want to add to what you were just saying about how, you know, people hit roadblocks, or and what Mario was saying too. With you got to find what works for you. You know, some people don't want a cold call. I've heard so many different people say different things on the topic of, oh, well, flyers don't work anymore, or no one wants to keep a business card in their wallet, or, well, no one wants to get a phone call when they're in the office about the parking lot. They're not worried about that. I'll tell you, I'll promise you, I've gotten jobs from every single method. And I want to give just a quick little story. When I was working my full-time job, I used to install windshields. We went and did some windshields for this. It's a landscaping company. You know, I left them a business card. Just, I would always do that. Said, hey, you know, your guys' lines are faded. If you need some work done, I'm going to be going full-time pretty soon, or whatever. I gave them my card. They called me over a year later. By this time, I'm already full-time. Had me go do some striping. I thought it was going to be their property. It wasn't. They had me stripe a different property. And so, you know, I didn't really question too much in my head because they're a landscaping company. They gave me a job, whatever. I went and striped that. Turns out it's someone they do landscaping for. Next thing you know, they're calling me about infrared patching. I subbed out some infrareds. Next thing you know, they had a plumbing leak, blew out 400 square feet of asphalt. We went out there, did a little asphalt patch, emergency job. You know, I made good money off that ticket. These people now, they manage come to find out, this landscaping company manages 470 properties in the state of Colorado. They call me for concrete. They call me for asphalt, for striping, anything they need. So, I mean, that's where that big concrete job just came from. We're doing it for those guys. When I was like kind of getting worried about winter, didn't know what to do, they called me up and said, you guys doing snow removal? We're doing 15 properties for them all winter long. We got 2 trucks going and 10 guys every night. So, and that's from giving a business card out. That's a multiple 6-figure customer. So, I mean, if you don't have time to hand someone a business card, at least, I mean, then I don't know what to say. So I just wanted to add that in there.
I love it.
I love a business card. You gotta have a card
on all time.
It doesn't need to be a good looking card. It doesn't need to be a good looking card, but you've got to have something on you all the time. I've gotten asked for my card in the most random places sometimes.
That's why this guy's a stud right here. Okay, like I talk about Jack.
He's on my right.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Jack's right here. Jack's right here. You're right here for me.
Okay, all right. So like wherever Jack is, like dude's a killer. Like he's a killer, and that's why I like you know, you got to think about in terms of who you surround yourself with. When I hear Jack talk, it inspires me. Like, man, I need to add a couple more 100K to what I'm doing. You know, I mean, we're having the best year that we've ever had this far, but it's like that's what I need. Like, I need to surround myself with people that are pushing me to grow and elevate. And, you know, that's why whenever you have to guard yourself of who you're surrounding yourself with, because what it does is it ends up pulling you down. So I'm glad you started and you're catching the live stream. Yeah, Knuckles says, was it hard to get equipment or stuff to get started? Mario, you want to take this one?
No. I mean, it's just the bare minimum, but probably like a couple $100. You just got to go buy a paint bucket. Traffic paint. I mean, I actually bought the real traffic, you know, Sherwin-Williams traffic paint, and I just got a cheap hand roller and some Scotch tape, and I just started taping down lines and hand rolling in the middle. You know, it took like a whole day to do like 4 handicap stalls, to tell you that, because it was a whole new layout. So I was learning a lot of different things all at the same time. But because new layout with that is very time consuming, especially by yourself. But no, there's just things like you just a couple $100 to get started, and then you can save up for a used machine, like Jack's saying. I didn't have the same luck you probably did, Jack. My striping machine was the most lemonest lemon ever. That I didn't know, you know, and it sprayed water when I bought it, but then as soon as I put paint in that on a job, I remember calling you, Chris, that I was doing a Chase Bank. Actually, I took this machine out at a Chase Bank property, and this thing like just started not like seizing up and not like it started making some funky noises. It wouldn't spray. It was giving me the wavy lines immediately. And but from that machine that I learned how to like repair a lot of things and troubleshoot a lot of different things on these machines. But yeah, no, you can buy a cheap machine. You'll just be open to learning how to maintain them, which is a good skill to know. I mean, you got to have, like, that's one of those bare minimum things. You got to know how to at least try to unclog your machine if you can on the job site. Because a lot of times, if these people are clearing their parking lot for you, you better make sure you get that parking lot painted, because they put in, sometimes these properties put in a lot of effort to make sure there's no cars in your way. So, but yeah, definitely you can, like I said, I literally started with a hand roller and then just saved up some funds to then buy my first used machine that I quickly dumped a ton more money than it was probably worth buying a new one at that point, replacing parts, because the pumps are really expensive, just so you know.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because you guys highlighted this and I really like the response. Knuckles says, I need $6,000 to buy some equipment. I'm not sure if like a bank or a lender will even give a chance. I had to finance my first. I got a notification on Facebook, I think 3 days ago, about my machine. And it said, whenever a memory pops up, it says 3 years ago, you purchased, this machine. And it was like, dude, it kind of caused me to reflect. It's like, man, dude, like, somebody really can grow pretty quick. And like, even if you need $6,000 to buy equipment, let's say that you don't have any money, like selling is probably, you have sales, you have marketing, and that's pretty much what you need. And let's just say that you're not, or you don't have any equipment. Well, you can sell a deal. Like, you could hop on the phone, start making phone calls, sell a deal, right? And then call another company. That's what Jack does. Jack subs out, he subs out all sorts of work. He's basically the middleman between the person who wants the service, the person who supplies the service. They go to Jack. Jack marks up the price, and then Jack makes a profit without even having to do the job. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you need $6,000, let's say you're working a full-time job. See, at the time, I didn't know this because I couldn't sell anything. But now I know how to sell. So it doesn't matter. You could take everything away. Like, you could take the equipment. You could take the customers. You could take everything away. And the skill set that I've developed now is I know how to sell. So once you know how to sell, you could literally just pick up this phone and start getting to work. So if you need $6,000 to buy equipment, you don't have any money right now, that's okay. Guess what? You could just sell deals. Green Man says people want to do business with people that they like. Jack, you want to talk about that? I know, like, the first big job that you got was a real estate lady. Is that true? You still work for her, and how'd that work?
So the story with that is, I actually just talked to that lady last week. She doesn't work for that company anymore, but she was a property manager for a big property management company, and they have multiple property managers that are in charge of multiple properties. The story with that is, at the time I was barely 20 years old. So, not even old enough to drink, no facial hair on my face. But, I went out there, made a cold call. The ladies at my bank gave me her contact, cold called her, ended up being able to meet her on the property for a quote. Whole time, I think I striped like 2 parking lots by then. Went out there and met her. When I walked the property with her, I mean, for one, I try to always make them laugh. You're trying to be personable. You're not just, at the end of the day, it's business. But I mean, I do business with a ton of people that, like, I mean, we talk to each other on the phone now as like friends almost, because we just get along like that, and we crack jokes and whatever. So I'm being super personable with her, but at the same time, I'm pointing out, very, very strict details on the parking lot and, what we do and how that separates us from some other companies. And, that made her feel very comfortable. For one, she likes me, I'm asking her questions, how long have you been doing this? Do you like what you do? Whatever, if you go out there as the bored guy that's like, okay, yeah, well, if you just give me 20 minutes, I'll walk around and, get some measurements and then we'll be good. They're probably not going to, like you as much versus, that guy was super cool. He's a little high on his price. Can I call him and talk to him and see if he can come down a little bit? So, I mean, 100%. I mean, that people do business with who they like hands down.
That's great. That's perfect. Okay, we got a couple more quick questions. We answered the one about the seal coating. Tyler Davidson says, you guys striping in this cold? Yes, we're striping.
Know it.
Man, I'm telling you, like, if it gets too cold where I'm at, we just go down south and stripe down there. I got work going on in 7 different states right now. It's crazy. So he said, that's cool because I want to do that. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Blake says, what's up, guys? Just sitting here putting in bids and listening to you dropping some knowledge. Thank you, Blake. We really appreciate it.
That's some good multitasking right there.
Very good.
Great
Very
multitasking.
good. Very good. Okay, now I'll let you guys take this. He says, do templates for striping come in bundles? I don't know.
If he's talking about stencils, it's just more of like, I don't know. I'm always a big fan of just buying as you need them. That's how I got started. Like I didn't buy like a whole bunch of stencils that I wasn't using just yet. Like I bought numbers when I bought a ton of numbers because I had a small stencil job. And then I learned very fast, you don't want just one set of numbers or like when you're spraying or like one stencil. Cause then I took those same stencils for a 465, I think, parking garage where every single stall had to be numbered. So I bought a lot of stencils on that one just because, yeah, dude, that was a crazy job. So just buying the stencils as you need them. I think that's the biggest thing is just don't go overspending on things you're not using or selling. I mean, have a handicap stencil, obviously, if you live in an area, that's like the only like real go-to, and then maybe get an arrow. But in terms of other things, don't buy them until you need them.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Or else I'll be buying your stencils when you're on that Facebook marketplace trying to sell your business because you bought too many things and didn't sell enough jobs.
Yeah,
I got to get off Facebook Marketplace, man. It's a dangerous place to be.
It is very dangerous because you start buying a lot of things that you really don't need, and I have a bad problem with that. Okay, a couple more things. Tyler says there's 2 more questions I want to highlight because we've almost been here for an hour and we got to stop before 3:00. I have a call with someone, and I know Mario has to go, and Jack's really busy. So Tyler says, "Are any of you cold emailing? Are you guys cold emailing?"
No, I would be very careful of that because that's a fast way to potentially get your email as labeled as spam. So like some of your emails might not even go through to like regular businesses that you're actually trying to submit requests to that they're asking for. So that's the only thing with the emailing. I'd be mindful of that one just because it's one of those things that just could potentially just not work out in your favor, and it probably won't. But there might be other workarounds. I think that there's like actual campaigns that you can basically set up a separate email type setup for it. I wouldn't be going to use like your business email for just like sending 100 random emails, the exact same emails to someone, because you might get flagged and then your email stops showing up. Because I had something similar happen like that, just from the way my proposals were getting sent out that I had to go fix up. I got labeled as spam by accident.
Do you have Google Workspace?
I do.
Really? Okay, I use Outlook. Outlook is great. Okay. So then he says, okay, did you guys get your LLC and licenses after you guys started? No, I got my business entity, but I didn't get we don't have to have a license where I'm at. Did you guys get one?
I don't have any licensing, no.
Mine's a technical like general business license because that's what the state requires, but it's not an actual like certification or anything. It's a real cheap. It's like, I think it was like $100 just to register as a business in the state.
Okay.
I've done a lot of looking into that because that's something I got scared about too, especially when we started doing concrete and paving is, do we need licensing? And the way that I do concrete and paving is, if it's smaller R&R stuff, I'll do it with my guys. We'll rip out the concrete, finish it. We'll do smaller patchback stuff, haul it off. When it gets into these bigger jobs, I have other crews that I bring in. But from everyone that I've talked to, at least here in Colorado, the only time you need licensing is if it's like a city project. And we just did a concrete slab for this customer. I do all his seal coating and stuff. And it was partially his property and partially city. So the only thing to do with a license is we had to pull a specific permit and license for that job. Now, as far as having special licensing under your LLC, I haven't heard anything about that. So we don't have any.
I don't, because a lot of the people I would sub out to, they're able to pull their own license, like their permits if needed, because they're set up in a way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is Bob Barker says there is a guy down in Texas that is subbing like that. He's making a killing, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't do any of the work in-house. Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of people that do that. There are a lot of people that do that for sure.
I'm not as a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of that either.
I think it's great to partner up with other businesses, but I think it's just, I don't know. For me, it's just like I want to have something that I do in-house because that's where you're gonna make most of your margins anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, to do that, you have to be on high volume, I would think. You have to sell like some major tickets at low percentage rates or just extreme high volume of selling.
I get it. I hear you. Knuckles says, did you guys just guess on how many buckets of paint you needed or already knew how much to get? Well, I just placed a paint order. We got 3 pallets of white, 2 pallets of red, 2 pallets of black solvent, and then 1 pallet of water solvent. So we kind of ordered it and had Sherwin drop it off. And by the time we got done, I think we had like 6 white and like 6 solvent black left. So, you kind of get to the point where you look at your job after a while, like you get to the point where you look at your job, you look at the cost, how much is it going to cost me to complete the job after I get done. My main objective now is to be at about 65 to about 70% margins on jobs. Like that's my profitability right there. Like on larger ticket jobs, I'm trying to be around 65 to 70% margins. It's kind of a little bit harder to hit that 70, but my target is 65, but a lot of times we end at 50, 55. And I try to have like a hard, like I can't go under this. That's my perspective. What about you guys? You got any ideas of like your target profit margins whenever you're working?
I'm kind of in that same ballpark when it comes to seal coating and striping. I mean, dude, striping, you can get up there, 80% margins. Like you can really get up there. I mean, seal coating is really good margins too. For me, when it comes to concrete and asphalt stuff, concrete sometimes is 70, 30, 80, 20. I mean, those margins, your material gets so high on those sometimes. But really a lot of concrete stuff are like 30% margins, which is why I do like to sub the bigger stuff out for sure. Number one, I like to do seal coating and striping 100% in-house. I do not want skid steers and dump trucks and all that stuff and the headache of having a whole separate crew for that. So my in-house guys, we know how to do small stuff, and then I'll sub out the big stuff. But yeah, we aim for, that, like you said, Chris, I'm never dropping below a 50% profit margin on a seal coat or stripe for sure.
I might if it's depending on the opportunity and connection. I've done that.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have any,
I won't pretend like I have never done that.
Yeah.
But I definitely shoot for the higher yeah. But like if there's like a really good potential opportunity that I see, that's not a one-off opportunity, or like there's a certain type of content angle, like I want that client as a label to use. I can use that job as a leverage for other jobs, then I will do what I need to do to get that job, versus because that allows me to then charge what I need to charge for the other jobs where I'm making killer.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I'll drop it too. I mean, if we're like last season, like around this time, we were dead. Like we were dead. So like, of course, I'll significantly cut my prices if it's a lot slower in the season to make it up in volume, over time to, keep the schedule full. We just started the year off cracking. I mean, we just in every aspect, like we started the year just like a rocket ship this year. So, I mean, I still paint parking lots for free, by the way. I know a lot of people in Facebook groups don't like that, but like, dude, I still paint parking lot. I'll paint a parking lot for free and won't charge anybody anything. I'll do it as a donation project and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's kind of something that we kind of just do around here. So anyways, with that being said, y'all, we're coming up on the hour mark, and I know we all have something to do where we're at 3:00. I will say this in closing. If you guys are going to go to Pavex, Jack, Mario, myself are all going to be at Pavex. I'd love to be able to collab, make some content, have a conversation, maybe go out to eat lunch, whatever the case may be. Please, I encourage people, walk up, say hello. I'd love to be able to meet you, talk with you, and have a conversation of, what you're doing now, what's working, what's not working, so on and so forth. And y'all, we get to hang out all week long. I mean, we got an Airbnb rented. There's going to be 6 people in it. I'm so excited about it. Like man,
it's gonna be sick.
I'm pumped about it too. We're getting there on Monday, and also we're going to be at the kickoff party. So there's going to be a kickoff party. I think on the 10th. No, it's the 9th. So there's a kickoff. It's the 9th. It's the 9th at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at a bowling alley, and that's going to be nice. The pavement group has reserved that. And then on the 11th, there's going to be the Striper and Seal Coater meetup, and then I think that Seal Master is having a party as well. And then at the ending, there's going to be another one. So like the event is going to be packed nonstop with stuff to do. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that much because I'm going to have to be recording content the whole time. But any last remarks, guys? Mario, Jack, anything that you want to tell the people?
I mean, I hope everyone's going to Payvex, man. I can't get my mind off it. I'm excited, man. You know, I definitely want to meet some people and, you know, just get to know more guys in the industry for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, just meet people doing the same thing we're doing. You know,
Yeah.
it's a nice thing to be around because it's very motivating, and also you get to have like the more deeper conversations that are going to potentially grow your business because someone might be doing something you never thought of, whether they've been in it longer or lesser than you have. I'm always open ears to great ideas, or I take inspiration for things, so that's why I love these type of events, because I never know where I'm going to get a good idea from.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing that, definitely will be bringing a couple Radiant striping hats just in case anyone wants any. So
yeah, heck yeah.
I want one, man. Shoot.
Yeah. I'll bring one for you.
Look, I want a Radiant striping hat.
Dude,
Okay,
I told you I'm big on the branding and marketing. That's my why I love doing the striping side of it.
Dude, I need to work on it, bro. I need to work on it. Like,
I'll help you. I can help you if you want.
I don't have wrapped nothing. Like, bro,
dude, people will recognize my trailer. They'll recognize it and the cards and stuff. Like I put a lot of focus on that. But
I agree, man. I mean, even just my wrap trailer, man, I've got my back glass on one of my trucks wrapped, my trailer, and then my other truck that I got, I'm putting a wrap on that. Just spot graphics, man. I mean, people are starting to remember my name and, I seen your truck and stuff. So it's a good thing for sure. I've gotten calls.
Not only that, it's also helped me close projects where I've been able to get a project where I wasn't the cheapest price, just because I'm showing up very professional in a certain way. People have asked me if Radiant Striping is a franchise, and I'm like, no, it's just a one-man show, really behind the scenes. Yeah. You're meeting every guy, the whole role, but it's just stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, to me, the branding and the figuring out the marketing is really fun, because at the end of the day, like, as long as you just do really good work, like, you're gonna get more work. And so now for me, it's just like, how do I get in front of more people? How do I get more people to recognize what it is that I do, so that when they need that service, it's a no-brainer. Like, I want everyone in the Tampa, Florida area that has a parking lot or knows someone with a parking lot, like, they're going to be my advocate at the end of the day. That's how I look at it.
Yep.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. Well, guys, look, I'm looking forward to spending time with y'all throughout this week. Thanks for the live stream. And anyways, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell icon, and we will see you in the next video.